So the only way to get that own sound is just make a lot of music, and then your own sound will come.
Alright Kris, welcome in the car.
Thanks.
It's so good to have you here. You started your career, well actually you got inspired when you watched a DJ perform at your local, how do you say that, elementary school,
Yeah,
right?
that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, at least that's what I saw. So can you explain me what the appeal was? So, I mean, what did you think when you saw that guy?
Good question. I think it was a combination of the technical side of it. It was just cool to me how you could just use a computer and mix these songs with just a computer. And the other thing is, it was also cool how he kind of had the control over the party and how his choices influenced the overall vibe of the party, and I thought that was cool as well. I like the entertainment side of it. It was really that moment that that I just knew, like, okay, I want to do this.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to make it my profession or anything, but yeah, I was inspired by it, and I asked him, like, what is the program you're using? I went home, downloaded it.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Did you then also start out as a DJ and build towards a producer, or were you...
I started DJing. I think I started making mixtapes and put them on Hives.
yeah, Hives, yeah.
I got asked to play at a local radio station.
Okay, yeah.
And on Friday night they had this dance evening where DJs played, and I started playing there. And from there on I started making mashups, and one of my mashups was one of the most played mashups on Hives.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I started slowly started producing, and yeah.
And when you turned 16, apparently you were signed to a label. How did that happen?
I was asked to do a remix of a song.
Yeah.
But then the remix EP got cancelled, and I only used one little sample, and that sample was from a sample pack. So the original artist told me, you can just release it as an original if you like. Back then you still had dance tunes.
Yeah.
Right now that's more beatboard, but dance tunes was also really big back then. And my first two songs, I think one of them was top 10 and the other was top 20 on dance tunes.
Oh
top
wow.
100. Yeah.
You started actually by making music for other artists as well.
That's actually a cool een bruggetje,
Yeah,
like we say in
bridge.
Dutch. Because I wanted to play more at bigger parties, and then there was this one DJ who told me, okay, if you make some tracks for me, I'll pay you, and I'll also give you some gigs. And
nice.
That's actually how I started producing for others.
And can you tell us some names that you've produced for?
Okay, so this is a tough one. I can tell you some names that asked me to produce for them.
Yeah.
I did a writer's camp for Tiesto a couple of months back.
Nice.
I was asked to make some songs for Nicky Romero. I was also asked to make a song for DJ Snake.
Oh wow.
Oh, sick.
But with these things, it's like you go to a writer's camp, there's maybe 10 different studios for a whole week, and everyone makes 1 or 2 songs a day, and then in the end they pick the songs they like and they finish it themselves.
Why is it such a shady business, the whole like, why is it so secret or something, you know? Are the DJs kind of like embarrassed when somebody writes music for them?
I think nowadays it's becoming more open. You have the credits on Spotify, so you can just look into who made the songs, and I'm signed to a publisher, so ghost productions are not really a thing anymore because my publisher wants part of their cut, and so it's more like a co-production thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like I said, those camps, you make a lot of songs, and mostly you're still waiting to hear like a confirmation if the songs are being used or not. Sometimes it takes over 2 years for a song to get picked. So I think that's why it's a little hard to say like, oh, I produced for it, because I did a writer camp for it, and
yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had like two phases. I had one phase where I played a lot as a DJ, and then I slowly rolled into the production side of things, started producing for others, and I got lost a little in that. So I started producing more music for other people. I didn't make a lot of music for myself, and I produced under different names, didn't really know what I wanted. And then after a while I was like, okay, I know what I want now, I know what I want to produce, and let's switch names, make a good plan, and start my own thing.
It seemed to have by accident become a trend in this car when we're interviewing our guests to ask them about their opinion of Slap House.
Okay, so I know a lot of people right now are hating a little on Slap House. In a way it's cool, right? It's something new. It's an involvement, I think, from the whole Future House thing. A lot of hits are written in a Slap House style.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with all those FLPs on YouTube right now, you see a lot of guys that are taking those FLPs and take the same mix down and stuff and just make a new melody, and so the creativity is lost a little. I'm not against the genre, but I'm looking for some involvement in the genre, you know? Someone who can bring something fresh into it.
Brian, do you think it's time for some feedback?
Yeah, I think we can start with the first track.
Cool.
Yeah.
We got a track sent in by Twoflags.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to disclose the name of the track at the moment,
Okay.
so it's that's all you can know.
We'll
I'm
make
gonna
up
stick
one.
to ID.
Sweet song is all I'm hearing now. Stood tall, I listened for the how. I think I must be born to follow you. Twisting my mind, I've been biding my time to ignite. If I ever come to take me where I'm gone, wish I'd never seen you, no, no, no. If I ever
Yeah, sick man, sick. I really like the drop. Lots of energy, the kick punches through really well. It's hard for me to give real technical feedback right now because I don't know the whole car and how the songs should sound, but the kick punches through well, the melody is super catchy. One thing I noticed about the vocal, and I'm not sure, I don't think the vocalist is a native English speaker, and especially in the first part of the verse, you could work a little on the pronunciation of the words, and especially the English accent. Now I'm not saying my English is any good, but that's one thing I noticed. And also the vocal could use a little more compression. But overall, really cool, man. I'm impressed.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you for sending it in, Twoflags, and let's move on to the next.
Yeah, let's start right away with the next one. Indeed, this one is by Nextbeat.
Alright.
It's called Diamonds.
What's it called? Oh yeah, there we go.
Diamonds.
You've got the most beautiful diamond eyes I've ever seen in my whole life. The skyline is jealous, I'm looking at you, how you shine. You've got the most beautiful diamond eyes I've ever seen in my whole life. The skyline is jealous, I'm looking at you, how you shine. You've got the most beautiful diamond eyes I've
very cool, man.
Yeah.
I like this vocal, and also like the vocal on the drop. The drop is cool as well. I think I have some mixing feedback things. The kick seems to be a little loud in volume. I think you can easily turn it down 3 or 4 dBs.
Yeah.
Also, the vocal has some harsh frequencies, and it's already really present. So I think you can easily get rid of those harsh frequencies. You could either use Soothe. I don't know if you guys heard of that plugin, but it's my go-to. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's the best plugin. I can recommend everyone to buy it.
Nice, nice.
So Soothe is really nice. But you can also use a de-esser, but the S's and the T's were a little bit harsh. I think you can see on camera that I squinted my eyes one time.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit harsh. And yeah, that's the thing with female vocals. It's always a struggle to get the right balance. So yeah, those were a little bit harsh. And also on the drop, I feel like the chords could use some more power. You can try adding another sauce in, maybe put some OTT on it to get that typical OTT sound. I'm not a big fan of OTT, but in case of those saw chords, it works really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also the vocal, if you add a shorter reverb to it on the drop, it can become a little bit more choppy, because that's what you want on the drop, right? You want to dance and you want to feel that the groove going, and right now the reverb is smearing out the whole rhythm. So try adding a shorter reverb maybe.
Thank you for sending in. What's his name again?
Nextbeat.
Nextbeat.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Cool song, man. Yeah.
Yeah, because you've also performed on festivals, right? And,
Yes.
And what's the most exotic place you've performed at?
Ooh, good question. I think in Panama,
Yeah.
in Middle America.
Nice.
Yeah. Actually, one of my friends lives there.
Okay.
He used to live here in the Netherlands, but he moved there, and he organized his own parties, but also has some friends that organize some parties. And he told me, man, come over. I'll get you some gigs and you can play here. And yeah, so I played there. Back when I played there, I wasn't as known as right now. Not saying I'm super famous right now, but I was just starting. And then they just made a big promotion. Dutch guy playing here, and all the people wanted to, they wanted attention, and I was like, oh man, the Dutch DJ was like a big thing. I could just play whatever I wanted and they would just go wild. When I started teaching DJing, I started to also know all the settings of the CD player, and also all the errors and stuff. So you become more confident if something, but because most people can DJ, but what if one setting is wrong, or and then they panic. And so try to learn all the errors on the machine, but also things like auto cue, if they're off, how can you turn them on, stuff like that. Just make sure you know all those things, and it will help you become more confident with DJ. A lot of people experience writer's block. I had a lot of issues with that, and I see a lot of people posting on the internet. They tell you take a step back, take a walk, go to a different setting, and that's all nice, and that could help you to get inspired. But the main thing is, what really works well for me is let go of all expectations, because the main reason why you're having writer's block is because you want to make something that sounds to a certain standard, and you're not reaching that standard. So you want a melody to be catchy, and you want the bass line to pump, and you want it to sound like your favorite artist, and you're not reaching that standard, and so confidence is going down, and you're not making anything anymore.
No.
So the biggest tip is just make something. It doesn't matter if it sounds good, bad. If you want to make a trap song but you end with a pop song, it's all good. Just make something. Just sit behind your desk, take a kick, put it there. Take a clap, add it on top of the kick. Add a hi-hat, add a bass line, make a melody, start arranging it, make a build-up. And it doesn't matter if it sounds good or shit, or doesn't matter. Just make something, and keep doing that. And then you make 2 or 3 tracks, and they might all sound garbage.
Yeah.
But then at track number 4, you'll have that good track again, and it's just a way to keep the creativity going and come into a state of flow. You have to get in a flow state, and then you'll notice I think a lot of guys will recognize this. Sometimes you have 2 weeks where you'll make like 5 good tracks in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then you're in the flow.
Yeah.
And you have to get back into that flow state, and the only way to get back into that flow state is to just make something.
Yeah, okay.
Get rid of all expectations, just make something. I'm more of a technical producer before a really creative producer. I think the creativity came later, and because when I started producing, mixdown was like a very big thing. And right now, to find a good kick, it's easy, right? You'll find a good kick on Splice, easy. But back then, I sound so old now. I studied the mixdown part of producing a lot, and then also I built a pretty cool studio, and I have some good speakers and a good sound, so I can hear things very well. And then slowly people started to come to me for feedback. Yeah, I talk to a lot of guys daily. Some of them ask me for feedback, others
Such as?
Yeah.
Well, I had a meeting with bass jackers, and they wanted to help me with some stuff. Can't tell you more about that, but and then they just let me hear some of their songs, and they asked me like, what do you think of this? And then I gave them some feedback, and they were like, oh man, this is some really good technical feedback, like really those small little details. And then they let me hear more stuff, so yeah, they like that as well. There's also this website called Sound Gym, and you can train your ears. It's really cool, and that also helped me a lot with giving feedback to people.
How does that work in Sound Gym?
Sound Gym, yeah, it's an online gym where you can train your ears. So you have exercises where you hear one sound and you hear the same sound, but a certain frequency is boosted, and then you have to pick the right frequency.
So how do you get booked to festivals? How does that work, man?
A lot of people give you the tip like, make sure that if you're booked, you actually sell tickets, right? Then you become interesting for bookers to book you if you actually sell tickets. So but another thing is networking, and networking takes time. For example, I signed a song to Revealed. I got good contacts at Revealed because I did a collab with some other big names that I can't mention right now because I'm still working on getting those songs released. And they introduced me there. But those guys I know from way back, from when I was 15 and I went to the first edition of Dance Fair, for example. When I was younger, I made tracks together with Martin Garrix and Oliver Heldens.
Oh, really? At school or?
No, before school. Actually, Martin Garrix was the one who convinced me to come to the Herman Brood Academy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Oliver Heldens was asking me, should I come to the Herman Brood Academy? So, and they weren't big or anything back then. And so networking takes time. When I was younger, I used to go to ADE and I couldn't afford the conference pass. And then I would just stand in front of the buildings where the conferences were the whole day, because everyone would come out at some point. And that's actually how I got into the Spinning Records private networking drink one time, and it was only big names like Tiesto, Afrojack, Martin Garrix, Jody Bernal. But I met Ahmed Oskan that day outside, and I actually got introduced to his manager, and then he introduced me to him, and then he was like, yo, let's go to the networking drink, I'll make sure you come in. And so networking, and that takes time. You don't expect to meet the big guys at your first networking event. But try to meet the smaller guys.
That can help you.
And they know people, or they might grow into a bigger artist, and then you can help each other, you know?
If you think about yourself, you know, starting 10 years ago, if you could start again, what advice would you give yourself? I
think for me the biggest thing is, don't be afraid to ask others to help you, but do it in a nice way. So if somebody gives you feedback, don't make small changes, come back to them, make small changes, come back to them. Just know how much to ask. Don't get caught up in the whole online thing where people tell you, oh, it's bad that you make slap house. Listen, if you make slap house right now and you release a really good slap house song every day, you can still become that #1 slap house guy. And so don't get caught up in the whole online thing where people tell you have to be credible, you have to have your own sound, stuff like that. Just make a lot of quality music and release it.
When somebody tells you you have to find your own sound, what do you say to them?
Just make a lot of music and your own sound will come. Your brain can make connections between things you know. So if you know future bounce music and you know progressive house, maybe your brain can make that fusion between those two genres.
Yeah.
But it can really come up with something that it's never heard or never seen. That doesn't exist in your brain. There's no memory of that. So the only way to get that own sound is just make a lot of music, and then your own sound will come.
Well, Kris, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. You've given great feedback and interesting stories. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoy this content, and we'll make much more.
And follow me on Instagram.
And follow him. Yeah, we'll put his link. Always tag in the description and below.
Cool, man.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, and bye bye.
Adios.
Adios. So before we go, a quick word to thank our sponsors, Bourguignon. It's a car company in Leeuwarden. They provide us with the Skoda Enyaq, a great car, fully electric.
Of course, also shout out to Dizzy Monkey who made our t-shirts. If you're looking for dope design, go check out his website. We'll add all the links in the descriptions as always. We'd like to thank you for watching.
Yep.
And if you enjoyed these videos, leave us a like and subscribe because it allows us to make more of these videos.
Yeah.
And see you next time.
See you next week. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.